Hi all, welcome to the channel, welcome to the workshop. So after 18 months of building, we're finally at the final stage, the final build pack of the 1966 Batmobile. So for the very last time for this build, let's get into it, let's get building.
Welcome to the workshop, tools in the light, screws and glue, they're holding it tight. Piece by piece, it's a builder's delight, making dreams in the still of the night. Let's get into it, let's get building now. Put it all together, I'll show you how. Screw by screw and a little glue too. Welcome to the workshop, it's waiting for you.
Right, the last pack of the Batmobile. Now, as you can see, I've got 3 issues here at the minute, mainly because I'm going to do all 3 of these in one go. Mainly because these two, having had a look through all the magazines, we're putting a couple of pieces in that we then have to remove in issue 20, or 120. So there's only a couple of bits to do in this, there's only a little bit to do in that one, and basically all 3 of these magazines, I think there's a total of 2 screws. So I'm going to get these ones done and out of the way, and then we'll move on to the more complex parts that are coming up. So kick off with 114. So I'll just give you a flick through the magazines, and as you can see, we've got the exhaust here. So we're going to put this pipe in, but I'm not going to be doing this piece, primarily because we actually need to take this part off again, and we actually then need to take this part off that we've already attached, because underneath there, there's a hole for an EM screw, I think it is. So there's no point in putting that on if we're then going to have to remove it later and remove that. So we'll leave that. 115 is pretty much the exact same thing as 114, just on the opposite side. So got the other side. Going to put the exhaust pipe in. Not going to do this one in this issue. Going to leave it till the end. And then we have that. And then in 116, we do get a large piece. However, we're not doing anything with it in this one. So we do get the side skirt, but we get a couple of other little bits and pieces. We're only putting that on there with 2 screws, as you can see. And that's it. So, as you can see, not much to do in the first 3 issues. So, going to get those done. Shouldn't take very long. And then we crack on with the little bit more difficult parts. Right, so just wheel the chassis of the car in. Taking this piece from issue 114, we've got these silver pieces here, the metal parts on the side of the engine, and we've got a hole just down there in the engine bay. Basically, move it this way around. That's going to go up through that wheel well, and you can just about see it there. That's just going to push into that silver piece like that. And then obviously that piece there is just going to sort of sit there, so we get it properly aligned when the exhaust pipe goes in place. I'm going to do the exact same thing for the other side. So in issue 115, that one will plug into there. And again, it will just divert down that way to go under the car. So as I said, not doing the underside at the moment. We'll do that when it comes to issue 120. So that's all there's doing those 2 stages. Right. And in 116, we do get this large chunk of metal, which obviously is the side sill of the Batmobile, but we're not doing anything with that in this stage. What we are interested in is this piece of metal, and this is also metal, just so you know. Using our EM screws that we've had in this issue, get 2 of those out. We're going to flip over the front end of the Batmobile. Obviously, watch out for your bonnet. Obviously, you're going to want something soft for this to go on, just to help protect the bodywork. Now, I've got my mat here from Technically Stable. when it comes to doing the whole car, I think I will still bring up my partwork upgrades map. So I do have a pot of oil here. This is just going to attach there with 2 of these EM screws. Now, whatever you do, whether you want a soft mat or not, don't push down on hard because you will crack your windscreen. And when you got to this stage, you really don't want that to happen. So just lifting it off the mat, just securing that in, like so. And that's all there's to do in that stage. Right, so we move on to issue 117, and there is a lot more to do in this one, I promise you. So we've got another bracket going in there, and then as you can see, we are attaching the front and rear parts of the bodywork. So it will be one piece. We're putting the sills on, tidying up the cables there. Got a bracket going in there, and then we'll have a full body at the end of this one. Right, as you can see, pretty much the same parts as we had in the last issue. I'm going to take all those out. Now, as you can see, I have switched to my cushioned mat because we obviously will be using the body upside down, etc. on here. You've got quite a lot of screws, as you can see as well. All M screws, so I'm going to be using oil on all of them basically. I'm going to start off by fitting this bracket to this side, that way around. Again, just going to use 2 EM screws for that. Just make sure they're nice and tight. Right, now I've just zoomed the camera out because I think this is the point where we've been most anticipating and also at the same time most dreading. We're actually building both parts together, or joining both parts together now. So we have to do it from the underside. Now, it might be worth, I've done this before, just pulling those out. They are metal, so they're not going to break in theory, but they could break this mounting bracket. And it's just one less thing to worry about when turning the car over, and it's easy enough to push them back in. Obviously, the main thing to worry about when doing this are these canopies. So having a soft cushioned mat is going to really help. Now, obviously, I want to make sure these cables are out of the way. We don't want to trap those. Right, we've got 5 screws holding this together. We have 3 CM screws here, and then in here and in here, we have an ALM screw. So I'm going to start off with the CM screws and then finish off with the ALM screws here. Right, so what I'm doing, I'm actually using the weight of the body against the front part of the body, and I'm just lifting the front body up, as you can see, just to get this first CM screw in. Again, just try and make sure you don't trap any of those cables when you tighten these up. And I promise you, a magnetic screwdriver is going to be your friend when doing this. And if you find that your screwdriver is lacking a little bit of magnetism, then you can always get a remagnetizer, and they are available from Mike Lane. They're the Wearer Tools one. They look like that, and basically you can just do this and it will magnetize your screwdriver, and as you can see, it holds your screw nice and tightly, nice and securely, I should say. So you can put it on the end of your screwdriver, one-handed, dip it in your oil, and then take it to your screw hole and drive it in. Now, I'm just making sure that these are nice and tight, because obviously this is going to be holding the front of the body on. Right, so that's all that done. Now, we do need to put the 2 ALM screws in to finish this off, so I'm just going to gently rest that down. Now, these ALM screws have much tinier heads, so I'm using my PH0 screwdriver for these ones. But again, just supporting where I'm driving the screw in, so we're not putting any pressure on that canopy. Right, so that is now attached. We're now going to be taking our side pieces and actually attaching those. Now, they are marked left and right, but they only go on one way, obviously. So we're just going to get that lined up on the side there, like so. Going to do the same on this side, just get it all lined up. And then we have 3 CM screws in here, that's going into the bracket that we placed earlier. Same on this side. And we have another CM screw in the center, and we have another CM screw at the rear just here. Certainly no shortage of CM screws in this stage. Right, so I'm going to get all 10 of these screws in, 5 on this side, 5 on this side, and then I will come back to you. Right, just going to put this last screw in on this side, going in that center hole there. And that is those side skirts now attached. Right, now we're just going to do some cable tidy. And using some of the black tape that we had previously, just going to tape these wires in here. Now, any that sort of stick over, I'll probably just use a scalpel just to take off the very edge. Right, that's actually quite fiddly to tape that in place, but managed to do it. Next thing we're going to need are our 2 brackets. Now, they are marked left and right. The right one's going to be on that side, left one's going to be on this side. Now, what we need to do first is remove 2 CM screws. So we need to remove that one. And I have noticed that I've missed this one. So remember when we took off this rear deck and removed all those CM screws? Clearly, I got fed up after 11 screws and didn't put the 12th one in, or however many it was. But as it happens, we need to remove those anyway. So we'll take that one out. And then we're going to put our bracket in. We need the right-hand bracket on this one. Now we're going to use a CM screw through this top hole, and that will go into the back of the side skirt. And then we're going to replace the CM screw that we removed with a WM screw. So I'm just going to put this CM screw in first, just loosely. And then the WM screw is much longer than the CM screw. To also allow for the bracket as well. So just tighten those 2 up. And that's just going to attach that rear section of the side skirt there. So again, that's going to go in there, CM screw on there, like so. And then replacing the CM screw that was removed with a WM screw. So that's in like so. And that is all to do in that stage. Right, stage 118. I'm going to leave the body up here and this way up because we need to do more work to it. So I'll just flick through. So we've got the parachutes to fit. So they're going on the rear of the car. Number plate to fit. We have the bat beacon to fit. Now, I am probably going to leave this until the very end when we're putting the car and the body together. Mainly because I've got the Mike Lane bat beacon and I don't yet have the extension cable that's promised to come with the flame detail. And I think it's just going to be fiddly and I don't want to risk breaking that connector on the bat circuit. So there's enough cable on the bat beacon. So if you do have the bat beacon and the bat circuit, there's enough loose cable that I reckon that you could have the bat beacon to the side and then you can do it with the body next to it and then lower the body onto it. So I'm going to skip that one. We do have this little bat radar that we're going to be putting in, and then that is it. All right, so I'll just push the body to the back at the minute. We're going to be taking our parachutes. Right, so we're going to be taking our parachutes and we're going to be pushing them together. Now, not sure why they've done it this way. It almost looks like they decided they were going to do that and then decided they got something better, detail-wise, to go over the top. But, don't know. We're going to put an EP screw in there. Going to do exactly the same thing for this one. So, EP screw in both of those. Now, as you can see, they are marked left and right. So that'll be when we put them onto the car. You need to make sure they go the correct way around. Now these EP screws are only going to sort of rubberized material, so they're not really going to bite too much. So it's really just to sort of hold them in place. I'm going to be placing these on the back of the car. Now, probably not going to be the easiest thing to show you. Hopefully you can see it on one of the side cameras. If I move the car like so. Now we've got these two holes here. So left hand one is going there. The right hand one is going just there. And then we're going to secure them from the inside using 2 more EP screws. Now, it might be possible, obviously, with those rubberized covers going on top there, theoretically, you could get maybe a small folded up parachute, not screw these rubber covers on, and possibly, maybe looking at Mike here, have a box instead that's open. So you can pull these off and have the parachute come out. Also, we don't have any parachutes with this vehicle, but could be an option if you wanted to display it with parachutes. Next we have our number plate, license plate. I have to say, it's not the best quality. Now, I'm pretty sure Mike has said that he's going to be producing some number plates for this. But yeah, that's pretty shocking quality if I'm honest. I can barely read the word city on that. I'm going to attach it, obviously, but hopefully looking at Mike to get something a little bit better than that. We're going to attach this with 2 AM screws, and it's going to go just there. Now I can see this being something very easy to break off as we move the body around. So do be careful. Right, you remember we had this back in, what, issue 2 or 3, something like that, very early stage. Well, now we need it. Now we're just going to unscrew this top section, take off this part, And if I just move the car back, it's going to attach just here. We're going to use 2 AM screws to secure that in place. Now, it does say about putting those little fins back on after this. I'm not going to do that. I can just see them getting broken whilst we're moving the car around. So my advice is don't put the fins back on until the car is back on its wheels and you know you're not going to turn it over ever again. So that's now secured in there. And that is all to do in that stage. Right, so stage 119. Only 2 stages left until the car is complete. Now, I want you to take note how many pages we have that are not instructions in these ones, and then compare it to the next issue. Right, so in this one, we have trunk lock, rear antenna, antenna pedestal, trunk prop base, trunk prop outer cylinder, and some screws. So concentrating a little bit on the chassis, we've got something to add there. Got a couple of bits to add to the body, and then that's it. Right, not a great deal of parts in this issue. We're going to take this piece first. That's going to attach just there. We're going to attach that with 2 AM screws. Obviously, first step in this build or this issue was the lower part of the car, the chassis. But as I've had the body here, it makes sense to do all the bodywork parts first. Just going to flip the car back over. And we have this piece, which is going to push in just here. Now, it does say to add this antenna, and it also warns you about being careful here because it's fragile if you're flipping the car over in issue 120. So, quite simply, I'm not going to fit that until we are finished with the car. Right, last thing we need to do for this stage, which is actually the first thing in the stage, but because I had the body up, as I say, much easier without doing this last. So we're just going to take this piece and this little bracket, and we're going to secure that together with an SM screw. I'm going to go through this silver piece and then into the rounded part of this bracket. So that's now like that. And then we're going to drop this bracket down behind the back computer, like so. And using a CM screw, we're going to secure that in place. Now, I don't quite know how that's meant to sort of move, whether it's that meant to come past the back computer or not, but there doesn't seem to be enough room for it to do that at the moment. But that's all there is to do in that stage. Right, we're going to finish this build pack and the car with issue 120. Now, you remember what I said about the other magazines? Also, we had lots of illustrations, bits about the TV show, all sorts of things. Well, check this one out. We have the instruction, the TV show, and that's it. Then we're straight into instructions. The whole magazine pretty much is all instructions. Not many parts, as you can see, but there's a lot to do. So building up the rear end, building up the afterburner. We're going to be tracing that cable around, fitting the wires for combining the body and chassis here as well. So as you can see, basically ready to tip it back over. And then as you can see, basically we are attaching the body and the chassis right away. And as you can see, this is what I was on about earlier, where we had to remove these 2 items. So that's why I haven't fit those yet. Got some screws to go in the bottom. replace those ones. You've got the little prop going there. You're going to put in. Bat phone. Obviously, I've already got a bat phone in there because it's part of the Mike Lane bat circuit. But if you don't have yours, go fetch it from issue 1 or whatever it was that we got it in. And then we have the final result. The car will be complete. So there doesn't look to be a lot to do. They've just spaced out all the instructions quite a bit. So you can take it sort of like one step at a time quite nicely. Right, now here are our parts. Now, this isn't mentioned. This is actually an extension lead for the afterburner. Now, I think that's actually a afterthought, but obviously going to be really, really useful because the cable on the afterburner is so short. And the afterburner is what we're going to be building. Now, if you've got the Mike Lane bat circuit, he's going to develop a flame detail that's going to sit in there. And obviously it's going to be a nice tight fit, and it's obviously not going to fall out or anything. And this is the reason that you haven't yet got it, because he has been waiting for this for as long as we have. So hopefully soon you'll get your flame detail. Now, obviously with the flame detail, there will come a extension lead for the bat beacon, but I think I've worked out a way, as I say, of how to do it without having to separate it. So we shall see how that works. Obviously, if you are worried about the bat beacon, then don't get this issue or don't get to this stage until you have that extension lead for the bat beacon. Right, first thing I'm going to do is take this clear piece, and with the open end down, I'm sure that is the case, it's just going to pop in the hole just like that. We're going to take our afterburner LED. That's going to push in the back there. And then this is where we're going to need our body. Now what I will do is I'm just going to put this cable, probably attaching it to this, I think. Because then that should trace round the car to where we're going to attach all the cables together. Right, I'm going to try my very best to show you this. Obviously, very long car, very small workbench. That is just going to sit on here. I don't know if there's a right and a wrong way. It does fit on better one way than the other, so there is a right and a wrong way for that. That's going to go in there. I'm going to follow that up with the afterburner. Obviously, cable is going to go through that hole. And that's going to push in like that. It is only a push fit. There's no screws holding that in place. But that's the afterburner in place. We're now going to flip the car over. Again, just watch out for your canopies, and if you've put your aerials on or anything like that, then just be wary of all of those. Just make sure that our other cables are still taped in place. I'm basically just going to trace this one around and come out in the same place, and that's just going to get taped into place. And now comes the point where we're going to be putting the body on the chassis. So I'm going to zoom the camera out as much as possible and hopefully try and show you this as much as I possibly can. Right, so this is the way I'm going to be doing it. Body is up on its side like so. We can connect all of these cables here. We've got plenty of cable to go. Right, so what I'm going to need to do is attach the bat beacon first. We need to attach that with 4 AM screws. Obviously, it would have done that in issue 118. But because I've got the Mike Lane bat beacon, I've decided not to do it that way around. And I think there's plenty of cable, as you can see, for it to attach. Now, Mike may have designed it this way. think once you get the flame detail, you will get an extension cable for the bat beacon, if you've obviously got the microlane bat circuit. But I'm impatient, so I'm going to try doing it this way. So that's the first connection officially of the body and the chassis. Now, what you're going to probably want to do, just ensure that that body's not going to fall over. So I've just propped it up with a bit of the plastic packaging. And we're just going to take our time, plug in all the cables, just matching up obviously the colours. Now I do have a microlane extension on this one because I did think it was a bit short. Again, if you need extension cables, check out Mike's website. And then we have all of these cables here. Again, just in case of matching up the colours, so they've got the green and black one, which is the afterburner. Now the blue and white one. I know these are turn signals and rear lights, etc. We have, oops, managed to connect blue and white to blue and black. Wasn't quite good start, was it? So blue and white to blue and white. I can just wiggle that body or chassis a little bit closer because that seems to be a bit tight on that one. Blue and black. And then finally we have green and blue. So we've got all those wired up like that. Now see, this would probably be a good time to test it, although I don't see any issue with this at the minute because we haven't really done anything electronic wise, and I don't think there's going to be any problems. Now what I am just going to do, it does say in the magazine about doing this. I'm just going to put a little bit of tape around them just to help tidy them up a little bit. Same with these ones. A bit of tape around there as well. So, got all those tidied up. Now, all these cables are pretty much going to probably just sit in this channel. Obviously, the bat beacon's going to go through this bit. And I probably should have had that over the top of those, really. But I think there's going to be enough slack that it will sit in quite nicely. Right, so now is the big moment where we're going to take the body and drop it onto the chassis. Now, you will need to open your doors. Now, I'm just going to rest it on the bulkhead for a moment. Like that. Right, open these doors. Now, obviously, you do have the little bat radar that we need to drop down into the hole. Now, you can actually access the wires from the boot space. Right, what I'm going to do is just flip the car around so I can see the cables.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Right, the body going on this car is almost impossible. I mean, it's probably one of the most difficult bodies to put on. it's so fiddly to try and get the cables in one place. The cables aren't really an issue. You've got a lot of access for the doors, the bonnet and the boot. However, the firewall is an absolute nightmare to try and get in the right place. But managed it. The reason I'm doing this on my phone is because there's no way I'm going to be able to show you this next part of the build on any of my cameras. Basically, what we should have been instructed to do earlier in 1.14, 1.15, basically remove these. Actually, sorry, in the first two issues, it would have been build this up and put the exhaust in. But now we're being asked to take that out and take this out. So we've got an AP screw and just double check. So this is the instruction. So we've got a CM screw and an AP screw. So CM screw and AP screw. Basically, this has got to come out because behind here, you can't see it, there's space for an EM screw. So that needs to come out. Same with this one. And then it's going to be a case of bolting this all down. We've got two CM screws at the front, just up in there, and same on this side. Then coming down the car, I'll rather show you on one side, mirrored image. We got a CM screw here. It might be there, sorry. And then further down, we will have that EM screw, as I said, behind this. And then further down here, we've got another screw here, which is another EM screw. And I think that might be it. Yeah, so that's then it. And then we've got to rebuild the exhausts. I'm obviously avoiding putting this on its roof at all. Once you've got the body on, just put it on its side. You do not want to put this car on its roof at all when it's together. It's too heavy. It's going to crack that lens, the glass on the top. So I'm going to get these bolted in. I'll remove this and re-add it, and then I'll show you the exhausts. Right, I've just removed the CM screw from here, not worrying about this AP screw. That actually gives you enough flex on this that you can pull that out, and you can see that hole just there. That's where your EM screw needs to go. So I'll do that on both sides, but you don't need to take this whole bit of plastic off. You can just pull it out of the way. Right, apologies, I'm going to do a lot of this last section on my phone. But it's probably easier than trying to tip the Batmobile on its roof. So we've got the exhaust pipes. This is obviously from issue 115, 116. And they're basically going to go in the same way. So you've got a hole this end. You've got a peg this end. And they are helpfully marked left and right. So this is the left side of the car, obviously. This is going to go into that pipe we put in originally. You can see these got these little tabs. They're going to go into the holes you see there. And then this final part is going to screw into there using an AP screw. So I'll get that done on both sides and I'll show you what that looks like. And with those in, that's what that looks like. So we've got it connected up there and the AP screw in there. And then final thing is going to take one of these and we're just going to push that on there. We'll only go one way around, I believe. So you've got a narrow opening and a wider opening, and just got to sort out those pins, and it's just going to push in there like so, and do the exact same thing for this side. So that's our exhausts looking just like that. Right, so with those exhausts in, and you might have just been able to see what I was doing on this top camera, but it was probably clearer on my phone. Now, that's all we need to do for under the car. So now we need to flip it back on its wheels for the final time. Just being wary of that number plate when lifting it like this, because it'd be easy to snap that off. Right, so back on its wheels. we do have this piece, and hopefully with the car this way around, I'll be able to show you where this goes. Right, I'm probably going to have to turn the car around to do it myself, but just in here, there is a little bracket that we put in. This needs to go onto that bracket. We're going to use an SM screw to secure that into that bracket, and then this pin is going to go into the part we put into the boot. So the bit that's just behind the back computer. Right, I've actually got a problem. That screw has actually snapped. So I can't put that in. But basically what we would have to do is once that's in, it needs to go into, just slot into that other section in the boot there. So it would come up like so. So it's not a critical part, so I'm actually just not going to worry about it. It would be an absolute pain to try and take that apart to just get to that piece again. So now I'm just going to do the finishing touches. So obviously this little antenna that we didn't put in earlier, or purposely didn't put in earlier. That's just going to be a push fit in there, like so. And obviously I took off my exhausts, so we'll just push those back in as well. Like so. And then the very last thing we need to do is just put this radar back. And believe it or not, that is the final thing to do on our 66 Batmobile. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please remember to hit the like button below and give us a massive thumbs up. So that's the Batmobile complete. The 1966 Batmobile is done. It's finished. It's dusted. Yeah? Well, you know that's probably not going to be the case when it comes to this channel, don't you? Obviously, we have the absolutely fantastic Bat Circuit from Mike Lane. Now, obviously, what he has also said about is a Bat Dash and the mobile crime computer for the boot. Now, I know he's working on those. I don't know when they're going to be available at the minute, but obviously, if I get my hands on them, then they're going in this car. So this will get disassembled again. I know some of you have actually stalled your build at the moment, waiting in anticipation for those additional Mike Lane parts. But you know what the channel's all about. I'm going to build it. If I've got the parts, I'm going to build it. And I don't mind taking it apart again. So it's all a bit fun, isn't it? But I want to say a massive thank you to Mike, because the Bat Circuit, the Bat Carpet, the Bat everything that he has done to this car has just elevated it to another level. And obviously, the basic model is absolutely fine. It's a stunning model, even with the stock electronics, etc. It will look brilliant on any shelf. But as I say, Mike just takes it to that next level. So with the Bat Circuit, we've got a load more sounds, we've got a load more light control, we've obviously got this fantastic Bat Beacon that does all sorts of things now, as well as rotating, pulsing, flashing, you name it, it probably does it. I have to say, absolutely fantastic. And obviously, from a visual point of view, the interior of this car now looks absolutely amazing. So with those carpets, the bat mats, the new bat phone, obviously all absolutely stunning work. And can't wait to see what that bat dash will do going forward. But unfortunately, you can't get this model for yourself anymore. It's no longer available from fanhome. You never know, it might be available in the future. But if you want to see how this one potentially changes yet again, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ding the bell for notifications. That way you won't miss out on future videos. And if you want to see another Batmobile going through the workshop, there will be the 1989 Batmobile coming from fanhome, and that is currently available. So again, check out the links below and get yourself on that pre-order list for the 89 Batmobile, and you might be able to build along with me for another Batmobile. And I know Mike has a few things up his sleeve for that one as well, so watch this space. But for now, I will do a few beauty shots because this cart looks absolutely stunning, and I'm sure you guys want to see it in a bit closer detail than what is shown here. So thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I will see you on the next one. Cheers.
Atomic batteries to power.